Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Miss La-Di-Da, and yes, it has been a good while since I have been able to sit and record on this channel, but a lot has happened in my personal life that prevented me from doing that. But things are starting to settle down now, and I'm ready to get back into filming for this channel. But I'm also very busy on my second channel, my Spooky Marshmallow channel. If you're into paranormal and horror, definitely give out my second channel, Spooky Marshmallow, a try. But this channel is all about you, beauty, makeup, what makes you. But most importantly, I like to talk about what's going on in the makeup industry that's not necessarily front page news, sort of say. And boy, have I got a juicy one for this video. And I'm very excited about this news because this is going to change the cosmetics industry big time. The future going forward with what I'm about to talk about, MOCRA, it looks good. Basically, to sum everything up, to make a long story short, the FDA can now regulate the cosmetics industry. And this has been a long time coming and wanting, big time, believe me. I am one of those people that feels that the FDA should have a say in what goes on your body, especially with research now finding that so many different agents and materials can cause different kinds of cancers. I think it's more important now than ever that the FDA regulate the stuff, good or bad, that is going into our cosmetics. Because let's face it, girls, we use cosmetics every day. Lotion is considered a cosmetic. We use that. At least I'm using it right now, like multiple times a day, let me tell you, because my skin is very dry, but it's that time of year. Sunscreen, same thing. From eyeshadows, blushes, lipsticks, it's all the same. There are companies that are claiming they're cruelty-free and they are talc-free, which that's going to be another video. We are going to talk about that as well. But anyway, that's getting off the subject. Sorry, can you tell it's been a long time since I've filmed on this channel? Let's get back to MOCRA, okay? So I'm going to explain what that is here. Just bear with me. And yet I have everything here scripted so I wouldn't forget anything because there is a lot to cover. So let's get started. So grab a drink, grab a snack. I don't care if you're listening in your car, cool, whatever. Just listen to me because this is important and this is about to change the beauty industry. So on December 29th, 2022, a major development in the way our makeup, our skincare, hair care, and more was regulated. It's called MOCRA, and it is the Modernization of Cosmetics Regulation Act. So what will MOCRA change? Facility registration, product listings, which that is major, good manufacturing practices, that's another major one. Safety substantiation, big word, new labeling requirements, adverse event reporting, and record keeping. How will MOCRA affect the cosmetic industry? Under MOCRA, the term facility includes any establishment that manufactures or processes cosmetics products distributed in the United States. So that means right now, this can only be regulated in the United States right now. But we need to fight to get this a worldwide event, you guys. Facilities will need to register and comply with GMPs. GMPs are good manufacturing practices. That's what it stands for, good manufacturing processes. And it will be issued by the FDA. Who is considered the responsible person under MOCRA? The term responsible person means the manufacturer, packer, or distributor of a cosmetic product whose name appears on the product label in accordance with Section 609A of the FD&C Act or Section 4A of the Fair Packaging and Labeling Act. The responsible person will be responsible for cosmetic product listing, adverse events, safety safety sanitization, let's just say that, labeling, fragrance allergen disclosures, and records. So basically what it's saying is, if your name is on that label, you're responsible for what's going in that product, which means if there is a problem with that product and it has to be recalled, that's your butt that's responsible for it. That's you that is responsible for it. No one else but you. Your name is on that label. It's yours. You're responsible for it. The beauty industry has had months to process this new legislation, the first overall of ingredient regulations since before World War II. And there is optimism that it could be a great thing for consumers. But there are also some very big question marks. Will the new laws have an outsized impact on smaller brands while bigger ones go on with business as usual? And with more safety testing required, what exactly could we learn that is lurking in our cosmetics? I researched what some industry insiders have to say about what they think MOCRA is going to mean for our favorite shampoos, moisturizers, and more. The FDA can now recall dangerous products. Yay! Yep, you heard that right. The FDA has not previously been able to demand that a beauty product contaminated with something dangerous like asbestos or lead be taken off the shelves. Yeah, that's right. This whole time, these makeup industries could be putting lead and asbestos, and they are, into our cosmetics, shampoo, whatever, and nobody could do a thing about it until December. That means now, once again, they can be called out on it. So when you see brands recalling products, like I just said, after learning about the contaminants, for example, it's all entirely voluntary. A few recent examples of that scenario: certain spray-on sunscreens and dry shampoos and leave-in conditioners were pulled after an independent lab found they were contaminated with benzene, a known carcinogen, and a mass-market body lotion and a high-end laundry detergent were voluntarily recalled because of potentially harmful bacteria growth. Most often, recalls are due to microbial contamination. That's pretty readily noticed by the company themselves, so they'll pull the product, says cosmetic chemist Perry Romanowski. Before MOCRA, the FDA could request that a company recall a product, but that company wasn't required to issue the recall. They could ignore the FDA, as in the government agency that oversees the beauty industry. How messed up is that? The FDA has not had the kind of authority it needs to ensure cosmetic products are safe in the past, and this new law is going to help fix that, says Senator Patty Murray of Washington State, who spearheaded the law's passing. Under MOCRA, says Murray, the FDA can require reporting of safety concerns and, crucially, force recalls, so dangerous products don't put people at risk. Effective immediately, the FDA has enough muscle to demand recalls, and that could mean more of them, involuntarily ones even, in the future. Now, you might be hearing more about scary ingredients that will be coming out in the near future about what is in all of the cosmetics that we use. And I'm looking forward to it. I am looking forward to it. I want to know. I have wanted for years the FDA to regulate this, and so I am super excited now about this new act going into place. Oh my gosh, you just have no idea. MOCRA is going to mean that more frequent testing for contaminants like mercury, lead, benzene, and asbestos will be required by beauty companies by the end of 2025. Talc-containing products will have to undergo particularly rigorous I can't say that word, screening for potential asbestos contamination. And like I said, I have a video coming up that I am going to be doing about talc in the products and asbestos in the products, because it is there. Yes. But we also might be seeing new headlines about ingredients in beauty products a whole lot sooner, perhaps in the upcoming months. While manufacturers certainly are incentivized to run tests that can pick up very low traces of carcinogens, levels below what the FDA deems safe, Romanowski predicts that independent labs will be conducting more sensitive tests that can detect those trace amounts, and that's what we need. It makes a good story, he says. There's a certain amount of power in being able to point out things that aren't a problem, but you can certainly make them a problem if the public gets scared enough about it, and we need to be scared enough about it. Backing up for a second, even potentially dangerous ingredients like benzene and mercury can exist at safe levels, deemed non-toxic by the FDA. In the creams and makeup you use every day, it could be there. It used to be the case that testing wasn't advanced enough to find these ingredients below these safe levels. But chemistry instrumentation continues to get more sensitive, says Romanowski. So whereas you couldn't detect lead in lipstick under 1 part per million before, well, when you can detect it at 1 part per trillion, you're going to find lead in everything. Take the benzene example. It's possible this recent wave of recalls was spurred on by unprecedented contamination of aerosol sprays. And I just want to point out right there, I just want to stop right there, and aerosol sprays are the worst. Oh my gosh, they are horrible, not just for our bodies, for what we're ingesting, what we're breathing in, but also for the environment. I do not recommend aerosol sprays at all. In fact, I don't use them anymore. I don't even use hairspray anymore, if we're going to be honest. Anything like that. And the airbrush foundation, I know that I did a video a while back where I tried Sephora's airbrush foundation. You guys, like, my eyes were so opened by all of the research that I have been doing lately about that kind of stuff. I threw it out. Like, I had more than a bottle of it left, and I was like, nope, I'm done. I got rid of it, and I will never buy any of it again. It is so harmful. It's also possible that benzene was already in some aerosol sprays, like I was just saying. It just wasn't there at levels high enough to be detected by the old testing. Maybe there weren't benzene recalls before because nobody was checking for benzene, says Romanowski. Then an independent company checked for benzene because they can now detect it at really low levels. And that is the reason there were so many recalls. Romanowski thinks all this testing could spur even more beauty industry legislation, and I'm hoping that it does. To which a lot of people might say, great, we need more banned ingredients in the U.S. This country's ingredient safety standards are often criticized for lagging behind the EU, which has banned over 1,000 more ingredients from consumer goods than we have. It's something plenty of clean beauty brands are happy to tell you about. Though it's also worth mentioning that the logic behind this argument has its own critics. The over 1,400 banned ingredients in Europe largely aren't found in American cosmetics. Why? The list includes drugs, jet fuel, and a plethora of ingredients that are illegal in skincare, like prescription strength tretinoin, Charlotte Palermino, I hope I said that right, aka the internet's skincare mythbuster, recently posted on Instagram. To use this as your gotcha moment is misleading. Romanowski agrees with the sentiment and also asserts that if you do a survey of beauty products in Europe and compare similar products in the United States, you're going to rarely find a chemical that doesn't overlap. The truth is, big companies are following the EU rules anyway. So the vast majority of products people use are following those regulations. smaller beauty brands could have a tough go of this. It used to be that launching a beauty brand required pretty major scale. You had to produce enough serums, for example, to satisfy Sephora. Then come the internet and the concept of DTC, or direct to customer selling. Being able to sell your products online lowered the barrier for entry. But under MOCRA, that barrier will creep up again. Before or by 2025, cosmetic companies will be subject to facility registration, good manufacturing practices, good record keeping, and reporting of serious adverse events and safety substantiation. Says Marissa Placia, I hope I said that right, a cosmetic chemist in St. Paul. In other words, a lot of things big beauty does already will be required of the little guys before they can start selling too. And you know what? More power to the little guys. That's all I gotta say. And that will call for more cash. Maybe you're going to have to lay out about $10,000 up front, and honestly, most people who want to start the next Burt's Bees don't have that money, says Romanowski. I often get contacted by entrepreneurs who say, I have this great idea. I don't have any money to do it, but maybe you could just work on this for a spec. That's not to say that MOCRA's GMP, good manufacturing practices, requirements are a bad thing. Homespun brands might grow something in their garden, blend it up in their blender, and put it in their products, said Romanowski, so they don't have proper specifications and raw material controls. Requiring these is ultimately safer for consumers. But it's possible that the honey and goat milk serum you've been buying from a local farm will be spared. The FDA has 3 years to flesh this part out. Existing companies that earn less than $1 million a year may get certain exemptions, and I hope that happens. It would be really sad if they don't. But, you know, right now, with the times, the way things are, it wouldn't surprise me if they don't, to be quite honest. Ingredients that can irritate the skin won't be able to go incognito anymore. Hallelujah! This one is pretty straightforward. You're going to see allergens disclosed on ingredients lists. Yay! In other news, yes, some of the most common irritants in beauty products aren't currently disclosed on the ingredients list. No, you don't say. That's because they're allergens found in fragrances, as in the stuff that makes all kinds of beauty products, not just perfumes. Smell so good or just bad. Because fragrances are proprietary, their ingredients didn't have to be disclosed before, and irritants were often hidden under the umbrella term fragrance. But now, companies will be required to name check them. The biggest offenders are limonene, linalool, and citrol. It's giving consumers more access to information from manufacturers, says Karen Ross, the Executive VP of Government Affairs at the Personal Care Products Council. Consumers even make informed choices about the best products for themselves and their families. Everyone deserves the right to know what's in their products. Listing the ingredients is already done in the EU, as fragrance allergens are the key source of irritation for consumers. Adds cosmetic chemist Ginger King, which is a no-brainer, like duh. Why was this not done years and years before? Europe gets it. Wake up, United States. So exactly what is the timeline for all these changes? A lot of MOCRA's changes are supposed to happen within 3 years, and the chemists we spoke to expect to see fragrance allergens appearing on ingredients lists closer to 2 years. But the FDA hasn't always kept up with timelines. Delays happen, like when the FDA missed a November 2019 deadline for evaluating a backlog of sunscreen ingredients under the Sunscreen Innovation Act, which was signed by President Obama in 2014. The FDA is developing an implementation plan to address all of the new provisions in MOCRA and will share this information when available, an agency representative told Allure magazine in a statement. There's reason to believe that could be sooner rather than later. MOCRA allocates funding to the FDA to help them put the new changes into action. Plus, the big companies are doing a lot of this stuff already, and PCPC, the Personal Care Products Council, is on board. So the FDA is not going to get pressure from them or from big companies to delay it, says Romanowski. The only pressure they would really get is it's from the indie beauty people who will soon realize that this could be a pain in their ass, but they don't have the clout probably to delay it. It's not just Big Beauty that's on board with MOCRA. The Environmental Working Group, EWG, a nonprofit watchdog known for calling out the beauty industry's potentially harmful practices, is also positive about where the legislation landed. These reforms were urgently needed and long overdue for too many years. Cosmetics were one of the least regulated consumer product categories, says Melanie Benesh, Vice President of the Government Affairs at the Environmental Working Group. In her opinion, some of MOCRA's highlights are that companies will be required to test personal care products made with talc and asbestos using state-of-the-art methods, and cosmetics companies will have to register with the FDA. This is major for the beauty industry, and you can bet there's going to be a whole lot more coming around as we continue to watch how MOCRA and very likely more beauty recalls come to light. Yes, I see this happening very soon. I don't know if all of you are aware, but recently, Claire's and Forever 21 had to recall a ton of their cosmetics. Why? It had asbestos in it. Not joking. But I'm going to do a whole video on that coming up, so stay tuned for that video. If this video interested you, which I hope it did. And it's very, very important because the beauty industry is struggling, you guys. It's struggling bad right now. But I feel like we should have been FDA regulated a very long time ago. This is crazy that nothing has been regulated since before World War II, you guys. That is crazy to me. And with more and more people, like I said earlier, coming to light about cancer-causing pathogens and things of that nature, we need to know what we're putting in and on our bodies. That's so important to live longer lives and how we treat our skin and take care of our bodies and our skin. And oh yeah, so the makeup industry is about to get turned on its head, and I am so excited. I am just so pleased that this is finally happening, you guys. And I think I've mentioned this in 2 or 3 videos, that how I wish the FDA would regulate what is going into some products, because I feel like sometimes, like, I will buy like a high-end well, let me just say, for example, Estee Lauder. I used to use Estee Lauder foundation like all the time. $45 is what I paid for it back in the day. It's probably way more now. But anyway, I would open up that jar of foundation and the smell of chemicals would just knock you down. Like, it's just kind of like, oh man, that was such a slap in the face. And it's not just them. Other cosmetics I've noticed too, as soon as I open up the product, the smell just slaps you in the face of chemicals. That immediately to me is a turnoff, and it's a red flag. And I am so glad that the FDA can now control that and say, nope, you're not putting that in these people's products. So thank you, FDA, for looking out for us, okay, in the United States. Thank you. But I am super hopeful that MOCRA will expand to other countries as well, because as of right now, this is just for the United States. So can you imagine what the companies that are processing out of China, you know, and I'm not bashing China, but you're going to hear a lot about China coming up in my next video series about this. I don't even think they have any regulations. I think they're just like, oh, let's just throw it in there. Yeah, it's bad for, woo, they don't care. We're getting paid. Let's do it. Not bashing China itself. I'm just bashing some of the shadier manufacturing companies that come out of China, okay? China doesn't have this regulation. They don't have MOCRA. They can get away with it. But the U.S. is saying, nope, we're done. You're not going to get away with it here. So, thank you. Really, FDA. All right. That is going to do it for today's video. Thank you for sticking around if you did until the end of this video. I hope you found this very interesting, because I know I have. And looking into MOCRA when I found out about it opened my eyes to so much more that is going on behind the scenes in the beauty industry that you are not going to believe, because you don't hear about it. Nobody's talking about it, but they need to. They need to. And like I said, I have more videos coming up on things that are going on inside the makeup industry that's going to blow your mind, because it did mine. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Miss Lottie Da, and thank you for watching my channel. And please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. So thank you, and have a blessed day.